Some places in Appalachia don't just echo sound, they echo lives' voices, and sometimes Paint Tonight's story takes you to an abandoned home on a road that doesn't appear on most maps, and what waits there doesn't just whisper, it calls back. If you've ever shouted into the dark and heard something else answer, tell us in the comments and let us know where you're watching from. This is Fear Begins. My name's Riley. I'm 27 now, but I was 19 when this happened. Still living in West Virginia at the time, working part-time at a delivery company just outside of Boone County. We covered a wide range of hollers and dead-end roads. A lot of them never showed up on GPS, so you learned to trust the old paper maps and local directions. One day, my manager handed me a manila envelope and said, "This one's for Black Hollow Road." I told him I'd never heard of it. Gave me a weird look and said, "Well, you will. Just don't stick around too long." Then he laughed like it was a joke. It wasn't. The road was barely a road. More like 2 tire tracks in the mud with trees closing in on both sides. It wasn't on the map, not even the old county map I kept. In the glove box he drove slowly. Crickets faded, birds stopped. The deeper I went, the quieter it got, like the world was holding its breath. About a mile and I saw Ida. White house, 2 stories, peeling paint, windows boarded from the inside, like it was trying to keep something in. There was no driveway, just a rusted mailbox. No name, just one word carved into it: Echo. I stepped out with the envelope in hand. The air was dense, like it hadn't moved in years. I walked up to the porch, and that's when I heard it, my footsteps echoing, but not just repeating, answering out of sync, like someone was mimicking my steps. Just a second late, I stopped. The echo didn't tone more. Step from inside the house. I froze, said hello, and from inside I heard a voice call back, "Hello." But it wasn't my voice. It was a woman's, flat, emotionless. I turned to leave and heard laughter behind me, soft like it came from a radio turned low. But I didn't have a radio, only tossed the envelope on the porch and got back in the truck. When I looked back, the door was open, just a crack, and someone was watching me from inside, pale, expressionless eyes too far apart. Back at the office, I asked about Black Hollow. My coworker Jenny went pale, said her cousin disappeared up there 5 years ago. Same house, same mailbox. They searched for weeks, but the house was empty. No furniture, no signs of life. Just one thing written on the wall inside: Echo back or stay forever. 2 nights later, I was sleeping when my phone rang. No caller ID, just static. Then a voice, mine, repeating something I didn't say. "Hello? Are you there?" Then silence. Then my laugh, but stretched out, warped like a tape, slowing down. The next morning, I found the envelope I had delivered sitting on my front step, unopened, dry as if it had never been outside. I threw it out, burned it in a fire pit, but the calls didn't stop. Every night, same static, same voice, mine, asking questions I never asked, repeating things I'd only thought, not said. A week later, I drove back to Black Hollow. Stupid, I know, but I needed to see it again. When I arrived, the house was different, painted, clean, curtains in the window like someone had moved in overnight. I knocked on the door, no answer. Then, from the woods behind the house, I heard my voice whispering, "Come in." I turned around and ran. Didn't stop until I hit the main road. I tried reporting it. Sheriff laughed, sighed, "No one's lived on Black Hollow Road since 1972, said the Echo house burned down that same year. They found dozens of tape recorders, each one filled with voices of people who'd never been found. It's been 8 years. I moved to Ohio, changed numbers, but once in a while I'll hear a knock at my apartment door. Go to check, no one's there, but on my phone there's a voicemail waiting. It's always my voice saying the same thing. Hello? Are you there? And laughing when you call out into the dark. Make sure it's not listening, because in some corners of Appalachia, what answers back doesn't want to be found. It wants to replace you. In Appalachia, trees don't just grow roots, they grow history. And sometimes they never forget what was done beneath their branches. Tonight's story comes from Ashridge Hollow, where a tree was never meant to be touched, let alone cut down. My name is Lucas. I'm 33 now, but I was 25 when I started working as a forestry intern near the Ashridge Ridge Trail system in rural Kentucky. It was summer, the kind where the humidity makes you feel like you're underwater, and the woods are so loud with insects you can't even think straight. I was logging data for a local conservation group, tagging trees, mapping fungal growth, recording rot, and that's how I found the tree. It didn't match anything else in the area. Old, really old. Split into 3 thick trunks like it had been struck by lightning and regrown from itself. But what stopped me was what was nailed to it, an iron horseshoe, black with age and wrapped in what looked like hair. I took a picture, logged its GPS, tagged the bark with chalk, and moved on. That night, I dreamed of ropes swinging in slow motion, but there was no wind. I was beneath the tree looking up, and all I could see were dozens of silhouettes, swaying headless, weightless, but whispering in rhythm. I woke up gasping, the sound of creaking wood echoing in my ears. The next day, my supervisor, Dan, and I returned to the tree. He was old school, didn't believe in witch trees or haunted timber, as he called it. But when we got there, something was different. The horseshoe was gone. In its place, a freshly nailed rope, cut short but tied in a newsstand, looked at me and said, "Did you do this?" I shook my head. We both heard the whisper. Then, not wind, a voice right behind us. "Don't touch the tree." Dan spun around. Nothing. We left. He didn't say much after that. Just told me to stay the hell away from that stump. Only it wasn't a stump, and it wasn't done with us that night. Dan called me, said someone had broken into his cabin. Nothing was taken except his hatchet, and the wood around his fireplace was stacked into the shape of a man wearing the hatchet like a head. 3 days later, he didn't show up to work. We found his truck still parked at the trailhead. His body was never found, but the search party did find something else. The rope hanging again from the tree, still swinging with nothing on it, and next to it, Dan's notebook nailed shut like a warning. I moved back to Ohio, tried to forget, but 1 month ago I got a package in the mail, no return address. Inside was a branch, smooth and tied with black string, smelled like rotting iron and fire. Beneath it was a piece of bark with one phrase burned into it: "Count the ropes before you sleep." Now every night I hear the creak of wood and the whisper of ropes swinging outside my window. There's no tree out there, but the shadows say otherwise, and I don't dare look, because I know if I count the ropes, I'll see my own. Some trees grow taller than they should because they've been watered with memory. In Ashridge Hollow, one tree doesn't forget, and it doesn't forgive, especially when you stop counting. Some stories never leave the land they're born from, and some legends don't fade. They wait in the hills of Appalachia. There's a tunnel the locals won't drive through at night. They say it's cursed. They say she walks there, still ringing the bell. This story is not just folklore. It's a warning. I'm not from the South. I'm from Michigan. But back in 2019, I took a road trip through Tennessee with 2 friends, Alex and Jamie. We were doing the typical backwoods camping thing: national parks, old ghost towns, random spots from Reddit forums. We Ended up near a place called Adams. That's where I first heard about the Bell Witch locals. Talk about her like she's still around. They won't say her name after dark, and they won't go near the tunnel on Lay Flat Road, so naturally we went. It was dusk. The sky stained orange, and the tunnel ahead looked like a wound cut into the side of the mountain. Graffiti on the outside said, "Turn back, and she's inside." We laughed. Typical urban legend setup. We filmed a few TikToks. Nothing serious until we went inside. Immediately everything went quiet. Even our footsteps felt wrong. Like the sound didn't belong to us. Halfway in, Jamie said she felt dizzy, sighed the air felt thick, like syrup in her lungs. We told her it was probably just mold or bad air circulation. But she grabbed my arm and whispered, "I can hear bells." We laughed until we heard them too, faint like wind chimes, but distant. And then closer. Alex pulled out his flashlight and shined it toward the end of the tunnel. We saw a figure. Not moving, not walking, just floating. White dress, long dark hair, head tilted back as if screaming, but no mouth. Then the bells stopped and she dropped to the ground, crawling fast. We bolted. Jamie fell. I turned around to help her and saw the figure just inches from her face. But she wasn't screaming, she was smiling, eyes wide, mouth open too far, whispering a sound that wasn't a word, but felt like it entered your bones. I grabbed Jamie, and we ran. We never looked back. Never stopped until we were back on the main road. That night in the motel, Jamie didn't sleep. She sat by the door, rocking back and forth, said she kept hearing the bells, said they were closer now. I tried to calm her down, but when I touched her shoulder, she screamed, not like a scared scream, like a warning. "Don't let her in. She's knocking." At exactly 3:01 a.m. the motel room phone rang. I picked it up. No one spoke. Just a soft chiming sound, like a bell being rung slowly, deliberately. Jamie started crying. Sighed. She could see her in the mirror, but there were no mirrors in the room. We left the next morning. Didn't even check out, just drove for hours. But something followed us. The air never felt clean again. The radio kept glitching. Phones kept ringing. Always at 3:01. Always silent except for the bells. It's been years. Alex refuses to talk about it. Jamie stopped speaking altogether. And me? I moved far from Tennessee, but sometimes when I'm alone, I hear her bells in my house, in the pipes, in the wind, and if I look at my reflection for too long, I don't see myself anymore. I see her smiling. Some tunnels don't lead anywhere. They open to something else. And if you ever hear bells in the dark, don't follow the sound, because she's not just a legend, she's still waiting.